Hello.
Hi, د.وليد.
Hi, Haja. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good if you're good, as we say in Iraqi Arabic.
I'm good. Thank you so
How are
much.
you? A long time no see. How is your week going on?
Exactly. It's kind of quiet week.
Quiet or
And
quiet?
quiet week.
Okay, great. What have you achieved? And tell me about that folklore kind of dance that you did. It was an amazing video that you posted there.
Okay. That was 10th of March, the day of Kurdish clothes.
Okay.
So every year we wear our Kurdish clothes, and this year was special because one of my colleagues brought an amplifier, and he decided to
to amplify the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. Well, so what kind of activities did you do there?
To be honest, it should be a normal working day, but with these colorful clothes. But the half of the day ended up with dancing, and then we went to have a lunch, and after that we came back to the office and we continued our normal work day.
Okay, so what kind of activities did you do at work?
Normal work day. There is no special activities at that specific day. But if you are in Kurdistan on 10th of March, then you will see everyone wearing his Kurdish clothes.
Of course. I love the colorfulness of it. And it's a quite eye-catching and fascinating. And I got used to it. Very bright colors. Actually, they represent the originality of the region and the tradition of culture and the depth of heritage and the nicety of people and how they are in harmony with the nature, don't you think?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is exactly what it represents. Besides that, it shows that Kurdish people from like old days, they are it is normal if girls and men and boys dance together. There is nothing that tell us women should be separated from men. So
we were shocked actually and saddened by the news of the attack that Erbil has sadly had to go through for some nasty and dirty political reasons, and we know the doors, and once you are victimized by those doors, it's really hard to say something from this weakness point, because as Iraqi civilians, it's really hard to, I mean, you've seen the protest and how they dealt with protests here in this country.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
It's quite,
this is really an ugly truth about our country.
Sadly speaking, and hopefully at some time in the new generation of people, I highly doubt it, and it's really frustrating, but I highly doubt it that people in this generation are going to do anything. It takes probably years to come, because the new generation has got his eyes on them, and they became part of this mechanism of destruction.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really don't think, considering the fact that I'm looking at it from a educational point of view, since I'm a professor in the field of education, it's a hopeless situation, at least outside Kurdish region, especially southern provinces. However, this is a completely pure political topic that we are fed of.
Exactly. This is what they are trying to convince people with it. Yeah. But this is not the nature of Iraqi people.
That's absolutely
not in south nor in north. Iraqi people are more willing to live a good life.
The majority of Iraqi people have been politicized and militarized, and to some extent brainwashed by media.
Exactly.
Most of media in Iraq is politically biased. Actually, my PhD is in political bias of media. And I could see how they can manipulate people's public decision and people's vision, and they can reorient people towards any certain thing, like whether that's frustrating or distant from the major problem that the country is facing, specifically in the southern region of the country. However, aside from that, let's talk a little bit about your work and the major challenges that you have at your work in terms of English. Has there been any challenge recently in your work in terms of email communication?
Yes, my manager was fired all of a sudden.
Was he Russian?
No, he was from Australia, and we didn't know why or for what reason he was fired. We've had the morning meeting, and after 2 hours, we've been informed that he will no longer be with us. So, yes, exactly.
And is this supposed to be a happy news or?
No, it's one of the challenges because we will stay without a manager, especially in such a sensitive department like ours. We are in need to immediate decisions and actions, and most of them was taken by our manager. So the happy news that we have a holiday this week, so we are a little bit away from the problems or the sudden decisions that will appear. So it's good and bad at the same time. We will have one good week, and then we will start to to suffer from not knowing who will take the decisions.
Okay, I think that's a typical of anything in Iraq. Everything is unpredictable, don't you think?
Yeah, but this should be an international company.
An international company that works in an Iraqi environment.
Maybe.
It's like bringing a Toyota car and throwing it in the middle of traffic in Baghdad. No matter how efficient the car is, it is going to go crazy to the amount of traffic and the amount of chaos that the car is going to undergo in certain circumstances. On my side, actually, it's quite interesting because I work the center. I work in Baghdad. It's a center for language training and professional development for people who work in the Iraqi government. And we are only 2 people in the center, me and the manager, and we are both professors of English. So we kind of like understand each other, and we are having some good connection. However, we have some issues in certain and disagreements in certain aspects, but that does not mean that is going to be on the expense of us or to sacrifice the quality or the professionalism of work that we go through and to go. Tonight, I have prepared some juicy materials for you, and some of the materials are going to be building on the kind of writing that you wrote. You have written 2 short essays, one for the 100 years and the other one is for the presidency, and I quite like them, to be honest. They're quite fascinating, and this is the first one. Let's have a look at. So the way we are going to go with the objectives of our meeting tonight, I have a firm belief, first of all, that in order to improve your writing, you have to improve your reading. But you don't have to improve your reading forcefully. You can improve your rating by selectively choosing things that go within the territory of your field of interest. Deal?
Yeah, deal.
Let me show you something.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
These are some books that I have actually as a PDF, but yesterday I went to Mutanabi and I got them as hard copies because a friend of mine has received them. Okay. This is called Side Hustle. Side hustle means well, a side income. Okay. We usually in English, specifically American English, they always say, try to have a side hustle. It means try to have another income that helps you in case you are in need.
Okay.
So build a side business and make extra money without quitting your day job. This is something, in case you're interested in reading something within the territory of your interest, this might be a great chance for you to start with. This is number one. Number two is something that is relevant to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
It's really interesting book.
Really?
It's okay. Really interesting book. It's going to be eye-opening to you since you have a crisis for managers now. So probably it's the right. It's very colorful, reader friendly, with so many facts, opinions, research, colorful pages. And it talks about how you become a great manager. So this is number two, highly recommended. The other ones, they're not interesting because they are part of my language. But this one in particular, if and in case you have access to any kind of shipping company, I highly recommend you start with this one because there is no way better than matching the necessity of your current situation with the need of you to improve your writing and reading. Yeah. So let me just go through some of the pages here in case you are interested.
Okay.
Managing people, understanding yourself, managing a team, leading others, understanding leadership. I'm reading the titles of the chapters. Yeah. Taking up your leadership role, leading through challenges, developing leaders, knowing yourself, improving your skills, becoming more effective, becoming successful, understanding communication skills, speaking and writing. Chapter 13, communicating with your team, communicating externally, planning to present, taking center stage, preparing to negotiate, setting your style, conducting negotiations, and developing your technique. Tell me if anything of what I mentioned is not relevant to your job.
No, most of them are relevant to my job.
So the other thing, let me just Google something because it's quite interesting. It just went off my radar. I don't know why I didn't just check that out because there might be a PDF copy here. Checking my sources for this book.
Okay.
So hopefully, now the question, do you want a PDF copy of the book?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, I'll definitely send it to you now in the coming minutes.
Okay.
It's really interesting book and I highly recommend you have a look at. Let me just say that.
Actually, I'm trying this week to rearrange my schedule and my days because I'm missing a lot of things with my family, with my own life. and I have to reschedule everything. So this week is just to put a schedule and to manage my time.
I don't think we call it scheduling. It's calling prioritizing.
Prioritizing, yeah.
Because I mean, schedules are an endless road, and sometimes we have to prioritize and give the superiority to the urgent, pressing, most important, high priority kind of duties and things that we have to do with our family or with our friends or on the level of professional development. Going back to our point of discussion here.
Okay.
Let me just pull up the writing that you have. So we have two things in our agenda for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We have around we have around 16 pages that I will go quickly and swiftly through, and I'll give you some feedback on this writing here that you have kindly written.
Passable.
Okay.
Phase step, they will reassess them.
So let me just go through what you wrote here to make sure.
Life fact.
Okay. So tell me, how did you approach writing for the first assignment?
What do you mean by it?
Your approach is the way you start writing something. How do you approach writing? Do you use complicated words? Do you use complex structures? Do you use simple and straightforward kind of?
I try to choose simple and straightforward.
How do you say to the next manager that your previous manager was fired in one sentence?
He was fired?
I don't think so. If you're just trying to, if you're trying to be diplomatic, the word fired has negative connotation. Maybe using other alternatives here, like he was laid off.
Laid off, okay.
So, or the company has decided to lay him off due to some constraints or restrictions, trying to put it in a context that does have maybe multiple interpretations and neutral kind of feeling. So you don't feel that you're reflecting any positive or negative energy regarding this statement and the decision of expelling the manager or the director.
Okay.
Now, how do you approach writing this kind of narrative here?
Well, I just try to find easy words and make useful sentences, short and useful sentences. I'm not sure how successful was this approach today.
It's absolutely successful because in English, writing in English is very similar to writing in Kurdish. I don't speak Kurdish, by the way, but talking about my understanding of Kurdish culture and the way they talk to each other, they're very straightforward and clear, and they are not dodgy. They tell you what they are thinking about. So they are not the kind of people who manipulate you.
Yeah.
In terms of writing can be very manipulative, and it can be used to refer to a way of, for example, politicians try to manipulate language in a way that they say, instead of saying Russia has killed 200 people in one single attack, they would say, due to the influence of conflict between the pole of Ukraine and the pole of Russia, there has been some civilian casualties as a collateral damage.
Okay.
So they're not saying we have killed or they have killed 100 people. They're saying collateral civilian damage. And this collateral civilian damage is somewhat what we say in English, amelioration, أسلوب ملطف, for something that is horrible. So they are just sugarcoating the bitter medicine, or they're sugarcoating the reality or the fact that Russia, during this attack or assault or invasion of Ukraine, they have caused 2 people to be killed in Ukraine. However, it's a case-by-case situation, and whatever we are doing, me and you here, is just to open some venues for reflection.
Okay.
Well, it is a life fact. Eventually everything will die, but it differs from one person to another how they will accept this fact. For some people who faced death, they will reassess their life and priorities. Those people will comfort fear more and enjoy their life. They will concentrate more on their families and their relationships with their beloved ones. For me, if I knew that I only have 100 days left to live, then I would reassess my priorities, and I would stop caring about what others think of me. And on top of it, my family would come first. I will spend more time with them. I will tell them more how much I love them and how much they mean. Then I will go to my close friends and tell them how much I love them and how much they've changed my life in a good way and how much good times that I've spent with them. I will arrange for a trip to a lovely place for me and my family. I will try to create more beautiful memories for the last 100 days in my life. We never know when our last days are going to be, and that's why we all need to start living like there is no tomorrow. We need to do things that we are enjoying, and we need to be closer to our beloved ones.
Okay, for me, did you hear what she said?
Yes.
Okay, great. So to me, this is a completely spoken narrative that was converted into a written narrative. And in a way, it's really good quality. It's, in a sense, very emotional.
Okay.
And I can read that through your focus and emphasis on the significance of your family members and the significance of your friends and how strong bond you have between you and them.
Yeah.
Which is quite fascinating and beautiful at the same time. However, there might be a few things that I need to highlight here. Starting from sentence number 1, well, it is a life fact that eventually everything will die, but it differs from one person to another how they will accept this fact. In this introduction, remember some time ago when we talked early in the beginning of our meetings, I said that everything I will give you a comment on, I will give you this comment from the perspective of written English, not a spoken English. So everything here is biased to written English, not a spoken English. Even if whatever you wrote here comes and flows from the fact that it's geared towards spoken English, not written English. However, just to be a little bit biased here, the kind of words that you chose here are quite emotional, but to some extent lack a little bit of academic tendency or orientation. Starting from well, which is usually an interjection that we used in spoken English, not written English, to the fact that everything will die, but it differs from one person to another, how they will accept this fact. For some people who face death, they will reassess their life and priorities. Those people will comfort fear. What do you mean by comfort fear?
Like they will be scared less than the others.
Do you mean they will be more comfortable with fear?
Yes.
Okay, because we comfort someone who is stressed or nervous or has some emotional breakdown. So let me comfort you that everything is going to be okay. But fear is more of, it's not a concrete thing. It's an abstract, something out of being tangible. We cannot touch it. Okay. So we cannot comfort fear unless you're speaking metaphorically here, which is not the case. Realistically speaking, everything here is quite well laid down. However, the kind of words that we choose here lack something very minor, which is in English we call collocating expressions or collocating words, like words that usually occur or co-occur at the same context or same situation or same occasion. As an example, in Arabic we say أبيض وأسود. بس ما نقول أسود وأبيض. يعني نقول أبيض وأسود. In English they say black and white. They don't say white and black.
Yeah.
On the opposite. So these kind of like collocating words. So comforting, they will be more comfortable and enjoy their life. Will comfort fear. Now you're saying will comfort fear and enjoy their life. This is very equivalent, which is really good. Okay. They will concentrate more on their families and their relationships with their beloved ones. I quite like this sentence here. For me, if I knew that I only have 100 days left to live, then I would reassess my priorities and I would stop caring about what others think of me. And on top of it, my family would come first. Here, this is something that usually occurs in email writing. We tend to speak longer sentences or longer chunks of expressions, and that is on the expense of understanding and being understood by the readers.
Okay.
The longer the sentence is, the higher chance that you will lose the track of the reader's attention. Because, and I tell my friends all the time this, sentences have shorter mileage. So it should always be short. Make your sentences short and to the point. And whenever you think that this word is not necessary, just cross it out, because you're just sacrificing verbosity, which is ratana, or using too much words, too many words, over meaningfulness. I will spend more time with them. I will tell here, you're not supposed to connect two sentences by comma here like this way. We should put a full stop or period.
Okay.
So I will spend more time with them. I will tell them more. We have to say, I will tell them how much I love them more. Yeah. So there is misplaced adverb. This is misplaced adverb. And I love them and how much they mean to me. So to me is missing here.
Yes.
Then I will go to my close friends and tell them how much I love them. Look at this sentence. Typically, how long is English sentences are supposed to be?
Not this long, and not this.
Like on average.
I have no idea.
So if you look here, this is 30?
37.
37. Now, usually A sentence that long is called compound complex sentence. Compound complex sentence is not a complex sentence. It's not a compound sentence. It's a compound complex, which means it has a cluster of subjects. And that is in English what we call a nerve-wracking sentence, a sentence that will just drive the reader crazy and frenzy and upset and angry and anxious and maybe eventually unconscious. Not because it's meaningless, but because it's long.
Then I will go to my close friends and tell them how much I love them and how much they've changed my life in a good way and how much good times that I've spent with them.
Now, you see there are more than one subject and more than one object in this sense.
Okay.
And this is maybe my camera is off. Let me just turn it on. This might be to some extent catastrophic for the readers or for the writers who intend to get their message across quickly. Now, I will just quick note here. I will let. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, but I'm just trying to brief it so we can transition to the next point. So I will arrange a trip to a lovely place for me and my family. I will try to create more beautiful memories for the last 100 days in my life. We never know. Here's another example. So this is 44 words, one single sentence.
Yes.
So we have one subject, which is we. Let me just highlight here. Never know when our last days is another one are going to be, and that is why we all need to start living like there is no tomorrow. We and we and we. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subjects that look identical in one single 44 words sentence. This is a nuclear bomb.
Okay.
Because the sentence is really big. And it might just need to be chopped down to minor sentences so we can divide it and digest it mentally quickly. So in order to digest this structure, complex structures quickly, we just need to chop it down to small sentences that can be read quickly and easily. Sounds good?
Yes.
So 2 points for number 1, punctuation, and specifically reduce long sentences into short chopped ones, period. Let's go to number 2 here, which is more enjoyable.
I would become president of my country. Then my 3 priorities will be investing more in the economic empowerment, participation, leadership's involvement, and meaningful engagement of young people and women, focusing more on education, science, technology, and inclusive innovation through education, focusing more on the education style and increase the first-grade teachers' wages. I will prioritize the health and well-being agenda of every woman and every child and everyone in the whole country. The protection of human right of all citizens and non-nationals would be at the heart of the priorities and the progress. Beside all above, I would like to develop new city parks that will improve citizens' physical and psychological health, strength communications, and make cities more attractive places to live and work.
This is one sentence, Haja, and it's 73 words, one single sentence.
Yeah.
And it has more than 5 subjects in it. So what we need to do, we can say, first of all, I will prioritize health and well-being agenda for every woman and every child, and maybe the whole country. And then period. The protection of human rights and of all citizens and non-nationals would be at the heart of the priority and progress, period.
Yes.
Besides, beside all of that, here the word beside, how is it different from the word besides? Just quick notes.
I have no idea.
Beside is a preposition.
Okay.
Okay, it means next to or near to. He sits beside me.
Okay.
Besides means in addition.
Okay.
So there are completely different words here. If we check the word dictionary, the addition beside is a preposition, and it means well, in the side or next to. But if we Google besides, it means in addition. They're both prepositions, but sometimes the second one is an adverb, ظرف. So in addition, as an example, we have here, I had no time to warn you. Besides, I wasn't sure. That means in addition to that, I was not sure. While the first one, I have no other family beside me. That means next to
me or with me.
Yes. So maybe there are little minor things, but probably from this lesson, you can get an idea that they are different, especially when you have to be careful when you write an email to a high stake investor or a big corporate program or company. They pay attention to these kind of minor things because they always believe that the secret is in the details. So I would love to develop new city parks that will improve. I really don't have any kind of comment on the beauty of what you wrote. Besides the fact that it's really interesting. But the only comment that I have is just reduce the longer sentences, chop them down to smaller ones. Deal?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now let's move to our next topic of discussion. And I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
No, at all.
But I hope it's beneficial.
All your talkings are notes for me and lessons for me.
Great. Now let's move on to our next topic of discussion here, because I like to walk you through some of the things that I have collected. So based on what I read, and this is probably a case-by-case situation where we deal with the kind of issues that you have in terms of their frequency of occurrence in your writing. So the more frequent that they occur, the high demand for an urgent or immediate treatment. Starting from the recognizing or recognition of the level of formality. Most people try to match the level of formality of an email that they have received. So once you receive an email, you have to write an equivalent email with the same level of formality. But this entails knowing and how to recognize how formal an email is and should be. There are a few clues here. For example, if a phrase is long and or complex, this is generally a sign of greater formality. By the way, the difference between long sentence and complex sentences are different. A longer sentence is a sentence that has so many descriptive adjectives and maybe prepositions within one single sentence. Complex sentence is a sentence that has what we call a main sentence and a minor sentence. With multiple subjects and multiple objects. As an example, I have eaten before I left. So before I left is the secondary sentence. I have eaten is the major sentence. We
have pleasure in confirming the acceptance of your order for.
Usually you write something like that, okay?
Yeah.
So instead, we use less formal.
This is to confirm that your order has been accepted for.
Which is the more common. So
should you need any clarifications, please do not hesitate to contact us. If you know.
So if you have any questions, please let us know. This is very common. You are requested to acknowledge this email. Please acknowledge this email. It is necessary that I have the report by Tuesday. Please, could I have the report by Tuesday? So we are just in a position of deciding which one we should choose more and prefer more, but it's actually up to the occasion of the receiving of that email. Some of the emails that we receive demand high level of formality, and some of, they are in the company, within the domain of the company. So it is not that quite highly demanding. Don't you think?
Yeah, sure.
Which one of them do you choose more?
Less formal.
Less formal. It's actually an indicative that you have close friendship or connection or relationship with the addressee. Because the higher formal, the more distant you are.
Yeah, okay.
So if I call you Haja, I'm closer to you. But if I call you Ms. Haja, that's a kind of distance. I'm just trying to leave a distance between me and you.
Yes.
In this case.
It is important to be aware, however, that some short sentences are not always the most informal and can also come across as rather cold. Writing in a telegraphic style can obscure the meaning from your reader, so always try to write complete and comprehensible sentences. The examples below show how a simple concept, such as acknowledging receipt of a mail, can be expressed in many different ways from
the completely detached, the first example, as we have seen here. So I confirm receiving or receipt of your fax. This is just to confirm, just to let you know that your fax got through, and thanks for your fax. But once I read something like this, you are requested to acknowledge this email, I feel it's so demanding, don't you think?
Yes.
So sometimes formality is perceived as rudeness. And sometimes less formality is perceived as friendliness. Yeah. So again, that's all depending on the occasion and the origin of the email, where it is coming from, and why we are writing it. So moving on, the modal auxiliaries may and can and could are often used to make requests sound more courteous and less direct. Which one do you often use? May, can, or could?
Can.
I highly recommend you use could and may instead of can.
Okay.
Unless you are in a position to demand employees to respond to something out of immediacy. So may I remind you, and the other thing is, can is usually for requesting some ability, but may and could is interpreted from the perspective of politeness.
Okay.
So can you come here and could you come here? The first one is demanding an action that can be taken as physical and an order. So we usually try to balance between politeness and order. Can you come? Could you come? Polite, order. So if you want to order, use can, but if you want to politely request, use could, or may, or might. And these are some of the examples here that I will share this document with you later on. So may I remind you that we are still awaiting the receipt. Can you kindly check with her, check that and this and blah, blah, blah. Keep us informed. Would you like me to Skype you? And do you want me to Skype you? So in similar way, won't be able to is often preferred to cannot and would like or wish to want. And as an example here, my manager won't be able to communicate with you tonight is more polite than my manager cannot communicate with you tonight.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I won't be able to give you any feedback on your report until next week. Is more polite than I am sorry, but I cannot be able to give you. Like for me, don't you see the difference there?
A little bit.
Can't just shows refusal or physical inability. But won't is more suitable for this kind of context. We regret to inform you that we will not be able to offer you any rate to delegates from your company, something like that. So the modal verb may is extremely useful when you want to give your mail formal tone. So I would be grateful for any further information you may be able to give me about. This is very formal, diplomatic, nice, and quite polite. May I thank you for your help in this matter?
To be honest, even the expat do not use it. I've never seen any email coming from them containing any may. Could you
maybe this is due to the fact that they have sense of authority, or they haven't taken any email communication writing, or they intentionally avoid using may because they want to forcefully discipline employees and people who work with them to follow very rigid system of communication. There are more than one interpretation that I can think about, but the last one that I would just think about is the fact that they don't know that. They completely know it. And deciding to not using it is just an indicator or an interpretation for certain conditions that they might think about. Or maybe they don't want to sound quite polite in the sense that they are, craving for some basic communication with you. They just want to be clear and direct and short. So what we are talking about here is a condition under normal circumstances. However, the other conditions that we might deal with are maybe relevant to the fact that those expats are undergoing some time constraints, or they don't have time to write longer emails, or they don't have time to be diplomatic or nice. They just need to get their job done. However, the kind of comments that we do have here are for conditions and circumstances under normal conditions, where we kind of learn the basics, the ABCs of formal writing. And once we get to know them in details, we can break them anytime we want. As simple as that. So the use of shall as a future auxiliary and should as a conditional auxiliary is outdated in English nowadays. So we shall give you a request. It's classic, old. And the examples below, the first sentence in each pair is very formal. The second sentence is normal English. Let's have a look.
Okay.
We shall give your request our prompt attention. We normally say in modern English, we will deal with your request as soon as possible.
Yes.
Some people use the first style, but it's a classic, outdated. I should be glad if you could send the file again. We normally say nowadays, please, could you send the files again?
Yes.
Very simple, this time as a PDF. Formal nouns. When there is a predominance, shuyur, of nouns rather than verbs, this gives the email a feeling of distance and formality. Why? Because nouns are static, verbs are dynamic.
Okay.
So arrival is a static, arriving is dynamic.
Yes.
Please inform me of the time of your arrival. Please let me know when you will be arriving. See, so when you will be arriving is dynamic. It gives it some sort of vibrance, livelihood, but arrival is static.
Exactly, yeah.
To the best of our knowledge, and as far as I know, they're completely different. When you say to the best of our knowledge, if you are writing a brochure, a manual, a very formal email to stakeholders, but as far as we know, this is within the company, the kind of email communication. As far as I know, we use more to reduce the distance.
Okay.
And it's actually, Haja, it's very tricky, to be honest. Why? Because sometimes in writing, it's a case-by-case situation. Usually people get credited and discredited for the kind of email they write just because the way they worded their email. And sometimes it gets misinterpreted because their email has more than one interpretation.
Yes.
Let's have a look at a very interesting thing here. Generally, if we look here,
generally a clear indication of formality is given by the number of syllables in a word. The more there are, the more formal the email is likely to be. If you speak French, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian, or Spanish, a good tip is if the multi-syllable word in English looks similar to a word that you have in your own language, then it is probably formal in English. Compare the following pairs of verbs. The first verb is multi-syllable and formal, the second is monosyllable or a phrasal verb.
Now, what we're saying here, the longer the email, the more formal.
Yeah.
The longer the word, the more formal. As an example, approximately and almost. We never use the word approximately in spoken English. We never. Yeah. I never heard any person says the word approximately. I only said it once in a meeting in the United States and people were looking at me like this. What? 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 We use nearly, we use almost in the spoken English. So here, formal, informal. Let's have a look and see which one you choose. Read it. Read the table.
Advise. Let someone know.
Okay.
Apologize. Be sorry. Assist. Help. Attempt. Try. Clarify. Make clear. Commence, start, consider, think about, contact, get in touch.
Evaluate.
Yeah, evaluate, look into, examine, look at, inform, tell, perform, carry out, receive, get, reply, get back to, require, need, utilize, use.
Now, let me ask you this question. Do you use advice or let me know?
Let me know.
Apologize or be sorry.
Apologize.
Assist or help.
Both of them.
Attempt or try. We're talking about the frequency. Which one is more frequent in your emails? Clarify or make clear?
Clarify.
Commence or start?
Start.
Consider or think about?
Consider.
Contact or get in touch?
Contact.
Okay, so contact, you use the word contact here.
Yeah.
Evaluate or look into?
Sometimes evaluate, sometimes look into, because for me it differs.
Okay, examine or look at?
Look at.
Inform or tell?
Both of them.
Which one is more frequent should you write an email? Which one would you choose?
Inform.
Okay. Perform or carry out?
Perform.
Okay. Receive or get?
Receive.
Reply or get back to?
Reply.
Okay, great. Require or need?
Need.
Utilize or use?
Use.
Okay. So I can see some quite fair 50-50 balance.
Yeah.
Should we look at the first table? But I could see some sort of equivalence or balance between the kind of formal words that you use and the kind of informal words that you use. And I think you are in a very advanced level to draw a dichotomy or difference between formal and informal, formal and informal kind of expressions that we do have here. The other thing that I wanted to mention here, and I have collected these comments from more than one textbook, actually, while I was reading through the passages that you sent me. And I was looking, I mean, I'm trying my best to have you write the best sophisticated formal email. I don't care about informal emails, because eventually this is something that anybody can do.
Yeah.
Anybody probably can write a very informal email saying, hey, buddy, I heard that you were fired. Well, good luck in your next job.
Yeah.
But that's a completely different story. We're talking about very formal email writing that has the, we say in English, the nuts and bolts of sophisticated writing. So let's have a clear idea here about omission.
A clear sign that an email is informal is when the subject of the verb and or the auxiliary are missing. An email is even more informal when articles, possessive adjectives, etc. are also missed out in telegraphic style. Last example.
So as an example, been very busy recently. This is very informal, and I have been very busy recently. So omitting anything, shortening it makes it less formal, because we say OMJ, ha ha ha, and LMAF or something like that. These are abbreviations for longer structures and clusters of sentences. Appreciate your early reply, and I would appreciate your early reply. Let me read the formal and you read the informal.
Okay.
Hope to hear from you soon. Read it. Hope to hear from you soon.
I hope to hear from you soon.
Speak to you soon.
I will speak to you soon.
Looking forward to your reply.
I'm looking forward to your reply.
Perfect. We'll be in touch.
I will be in touch.
Just a quick update on.
This is just a quick update on.
Have forwarded Carlos' copy of PPT to personal email too.
I have forwarded Carlos a copy of the presentation to his personal email too.
Okay, perfect. Abbreviations and acronyms. I think you're pretty familiar with them. We're talking about اختصارات. usually in email writing, we try as much as possible to avoid abbreviation unless the other person is 100%, 90% aware of the kind of abbreviations that we do have. Smileys, of course, they're not going to be a very case. There's no one single case probably where we can send smiley faces to people in emails. Exactly. But this is just side note. So avoid excessively formal forms of English. This is very important because this is a very outdated style where we use very, very formal English. Like the example here, your faithful and affectionate servant.
Wow.
I am, my dear friend, yours affectionately, and my best wishes attend you with sincere esteem. Sir, your most obedient and very humble servant. These are very outdated samples. Even the word yours sincerely is nowadays kind of outdated.
Yeah.
Kind regards and yours kindly or something like that. Yes. So such phrases today would sound ridiculous in email, even very formal ones. However, similar phrases exist in many languages of today. By the way, some of the style of our communication comes from the influence of Kurdish, maybe German in your case, or Arabic on English. Most languages, and let's read this fun fact here, which is
okay.
In fact, most languages in their written form tend to be more formal than written English. This formality shows itself not just in the choice of words and expressions but also in the length of sentences and paragraphs. Below is an email to a human resources manager from someone who wishes to apply for a job. The parts in italics would be considered much too formal or simply wrong by most Anglos. The best solution is to omit them.
So let's have a look. This is an applicant to the HR manager. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let's have a look only at the italicized ones.
Okay.
Dear Human Resources Manager, with due respect, I would like to draw your attention that I have a degree in. I am highly interested in continuing my research in the field of reducing fuel emissions, and thus of working in your esteemed research and development team. I am sending here with my biodata in favor of your kind consideration. I would very much appreciate it if you would consider me for a position in your R&D division. I am eagerly looking forward to your generous suggestion. With warmest regards. Sincerely yours.
He's begging.
Yes, exactly.
For a job, and probably it's a justifiable for a person with very basic level of English. But that does not exclude the fact that some of this kind of style is interpreted as very cheesy and probably condescending in a way or another. Some managers, once they read that, they will just look at it in a very condescending way. However, nobody says, I'm eagerly looking forward to your generous suggestions. I don't know, it feels very cheesy. Yeah, the other issue that we might have is mixing. I've noticed that you choose, depending on the chart that we have seen between formal and informal, that you were jumping between formal and informal.
Yes.
And for a native speaker, they can read, where, like me personally, some of my native speaker friends told me that you mix British and American English. Actually, I don't consider myself to speak any of them. I just speak English, but sometimes, depending on my listening, I got used to listen to some British and sometimes to some American English,
Yeah.
or Canadian English, or Scottish English, and that just influenced the way that I speak.
Yes.
So I mix both. It's very normal. So here is an email written by one business person to another. They had previously met at a trade fair. So they're kind of like mixing the formality of expressions here. And why am I showing you this? Is because sometimes when you are writing to a corporate program with higher, or stakeholder with higher level, we should make sure that we proofread carefully, go through every single sentence to make sure that it's either written correctly, has no spelling mistakes, or is not mixed in terms of formal and informal.
Dear Miroslav, I hope you have been having a really good time since our meeting at the trade fair in Belgrade. I would be very grateful if you could kindly tell me how to obtain the DES 2019 document in order to request the visa. I would like to thank you in advance, and have a great Christmas. Cheers. Lamia Bauchapkis.
So we can see that in the italicized, you have been having a really good time. So you use the word good, which is an indication of informality.
Informal, yeah.
Yeah. To this point, we have covered part of our discussion of tonight regarding the word choice. And this is the second point. The first one is avoiding longer sentences when you write an email, because it kills it. It just destroys the reader's attention. Once we write 73 words.
Yes, sure.
It's
You're
really,
totally right.
yeah. I'm not reprimanding. I'm just telling you that in case you get the chance to write something like this, consider the fact it is crucial to focus on the shortness of the email. In our next meeting, we'll continue. I hope we get the chance to look at this in more details and see some samples of your writing. Avoid very colloquial English, which is the informal, very informal English. So if you need any more info, then just shout. This is very, if you can start the ball rolling. This might be very common in spoken English. That's why we call it colloquial English. Do you think this is doable instead of can be done? And then we'll talk about the pyramid construction, which is very common concept in academic sophisticated writing. Just to give you an idea, that a pyramid writing is a pyramid. It's very simple.
Yes.
Starting from the core and then going through the major base and its concept here. And then using the topic sentence or thesis or statement اللي هي جملة البيان واللي هي مصدر الكتابة في اللغة الإنجليزية. إنه جملة البيان هو أقوى تصريح يقول الشخص في بداية الجملة، في بداية الفقرة. مثلا smoking causes cancer. Big statement, and then they start telling people why. If you see cigarettes, they would say smoking kills. This is a statement, and this is what we call topic sentences. And then we'll go through. I focus more on samples, so we'll start from writing short paragraphs. And this is completely, this sample of the content of this document here, 19 pages, is completely built on the kind of writing that you wrote to me in 2 paragraphs.
Okay.
So we're trying to directly and indirectly leverage every weakness in that kind of essay, short essays, by going through some theory here.
Okay.
We're building that backward using transitional phrases such as the following week. On the other side, furthermore, in addition to these, moreover, that I haven't seen them written in neither paragraph 1 or 2.
Yes. Yes.
Transition subjects consequently in this manner, on the other hand, in contrast to, despite all this, because writing is like a train, and every compartment of this train is connected by a joint. So these are the joints.
Yeah.
And again, don't explain when you don't have to, which means cross out anything that doesn't need to be said.
Okay. Yeah.
Use bridge words, and bridge words are joints. Avoid wordiness, اللي هي الرطانة أو use a lot of words. And then steal.
Okay.
Be a literally pack rat. It means try to use quotes. Again, this is a very academic, normal conditions writing instructions. This is not to help you only write an email, but to have a general perception of writing in general. As an example, when I start writing, I would say, according to Steve Jobs, who once said simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, بساطة هي غاية التعقيد. I still believe blah, 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 blah. So I steal that quote in very nice way, and then I put it because it gives you some sort of a glory. It gives you some sort of uplifted style of writing that just gets people's attention.
Sure. Yeah.
Stop writing when you get to the end. And then we have a lovely essay that I prepared for you, which is really good. This essay is from a book that I left at my work desk. It's called 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think.
Yeah, you showed it to me last lesson,
meeting. This is essay number 16, 8 cognitive biases that are creating the way you experience your life. Very transformational kind of essay if you read it carefully. 3 pages.
Okay.
So my purpose of giving you this short 3 pages essay is to put you on track of a habit reader.
Yeah.
So you become a habit reader by gradually increase the momentum of your reading. So we read gradually more and more and more, and start realizing the way people write, and then apply it on our own style of writing.
Yes.
In our next meeting, I will be dedicating some time to discuss the way they structured this writing in this way, and then how we can build up a better version of reflection essay, building on what you understood from this essay.
Okay.
Great. I was a parrot tonight. I spoke a lot.
No, at all. No, please don't say that.
But sometimes I need to be very instructional once I see some sort of issues that need to be amended, fixed, changed, altered, replaced, and or removed from your writing.
Sure, and this is the purpose from these lessons.
Yes. So 2 things you learned from our meeting tonight. What are they?
Not to use very long sentences, and make it shorter sentences. And also knowing more about the formal words and informal words, and using it in my emails.
Using them in your emails. Okay, great. The only thing that concerns me is that women tend to speak more.
But not me. Not
Okay.
me, to be honest.
Okay, great. Well, that is very comforting then.
No,
Okay.
I cannot speak a lot. This is my problem.
Great. That's great, actually. Haja, thank you so much. It was pleasurable
Thank
to have you
you.
tonight
Thanks
for this
your time.
lovely meeting, and this time to discuss
Sure.
in a very enjoyful way writing
Thank you
and
so
how you
much.
can improve your writing.
I will ask you for one last thing. Can
Yes,
you
please.
send me the records from last meeting?
Recording.
Yes, the records. Last record and this one.
You
I
mean
didn't get it. The meeting records. Whenever you are recording, you are send it to me and I just go through it.
it's recording, not records.
Recording, yeah.
Yes, recording. Records are database or
Yes.
something like that. Okay, I'll try to find it. I'm not sure if
Okay.
I have put it on private link or not, but I will definitely share this one with you.
No problem. If you didn't find it, then this one will be more than enough.
Okay, I will find it
Okay.
and send it to you, and I will definitely
Okay.
send you this one.
Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Have a blessed
Thank you.
evening and say hi to your family.
Same for you. Thank you so
ربي
much.
يحفظك. مع السلامة.
الله يخليك. مع السلامة.